don't know why it does that. Why does it go black? So weird. Forgot to load mix it up. Uh-oh. Leaked profile name. It always takes so long to load though. It's very weird. It's a pretty nice program. I need to figure out how to do some stuff on it though, because I wanna change our alerts for like followers and stuff. How's it going, Anomalies? Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. Oh! GTA 6 revealed tonight. On Netflix, or if you watch somewhere else because you don't pay for Netflix. We're gonna be watching the Gamescom stuff later today too. I miss going to Gamescom. I really miss it. Hopefully I'll get there next year. Have I seen How to Fish? I have seen it. Looks pretty nice. You couldn't care less about GTA 6. Well, you might be the only person in the world to say that. Okay, today we're going to be doing some miscellaneous stuff because tomorrow we're going to be jumping into Star Wars Zero Company, which if you haven't seen, I was looking at it and people were sent some review copies. Now, of course, this is like Metacritic, right? So what the fuck can we really trust? But reviews are pretty damn good. Apparently, it's a lot of fun. People are really liking the game, so I'm really excited to jump in tomorrow and play it. But today, we have to work, sadly, for a little bit. And I want to do some miscellaneous stuff before we get back to GameplayCLI, which will be done after the short break of playing the game and then doing Kickstarter reviews. So I'm just going to kind of like go down the list of things that I've made note of that it would be nice to have resolved. And we're just going to pick and see if we can resolve some of these. There is one performance issue with dropping items. I don't really know if I can resolve that quickly. What the? T-Mobile, stop sending me messages. Fucking asshole company. Grab throw not respecting mass. I did see that. I don't know if I turn that off or it's just not working. But when we pick up items, it should be taking the mass of the item into account. Maybe we can resolve this in some... I want some things to be so heavy that you have to drag them and you can't pick them up. I'm thinking maybe instead of it being done based on mass for Redlock, we implement this into the grab throw as a feature. Like a pickup type. Or maybe some additional parameters for being able to control how resilient it is to being moved around. Okay, when it's coming to PC, that's understandable. You're not going to be looking because of spoilers? You are really going to expect to not encounter GTA 6 spoilers for at least a year? I don't know. If you manage to do that, you have to share your magic with me. That's going to be very difficult. You live under like Patrick and SpongeBob? Good luck. Yeah, let's take a look. I think it'd be better because I have it like not respecting mass, and I was thinking of just bringing back the feature we had in Immersive Sim Toolkit where it cared about mass. But I kind of like the idea that it is, or maybe we'll do like, maybe we'll have like an enum for pickup mode. Maybe grab mode. And this can be an enum with normal, or yeah, but enum is not very fun either. Enum was a little bit too rigid in this case, where we would want some customization. Well, hey, hold on, don't we already have some of this exposed? Let me double check. I think I implemented this while I was away. The only problem is that it is it's set here on the player. Yeah, we have all the physics arms set up here. And this is modifiable on an actor basis. Here. I will be watching it. Unfortunately, like, we can't stream it or anything, but I will be watching it. We can talk about it tomorrow. Although I'll probably be trying to focus on the game too. Maybe I'll make it a separate segment, or we can talk about, because I don't want to like take away from Star Wars Zero Company, and I don't want to be distracted so much while playing it that we're just talking about GTA 5 while playing, or GTA 6 while playing a completely different game. So maybe we'll play it, or we'll in the morning, what we'll do is we'll talk about it for like 2 to 3 hours, or however long we need to take, and then we can play the game. And that way we're not gunking up the game stream with GTA 6. Although, you know, people are going to pop in while I'm playing the game and saying, "Have you seen the GTA 6? Mr. Game Developer?" Yeah, me and everybody else. My grandma will probably see it. Everybody's gonna watch it. This is what I don't like about this, is that it's global. I mean, I don't mind it being global, but maybe some option for optional per actor override of physics arm settings. So if we do find settings, great. If not, no biggie, we use the global. So this way we kind of just treat everything as global, otherwise maybe it needs to be overridden. This we might be able to do with either a data table or data asset. Mamo, this looks like a good show. Hey, I'm really excited to see. I only watched the 2 original leaks with the basketball and riding the you know, getting in the car and then getting a quick 1 level. And you could tell that, of course, as with any game in that development phase, like their UI wasn't developed yet, which is the smart thing to do. So it's kind of hard for me to judge all of the game because I haven't seen it all. I've only seen some of the gameplay elements. But of the gameplay elements that I did see, it looks great. Like, it's really, I've always loved that about Rockstar, is they put all this attention to detail into all of their systems. Even something like playing basketball just looks fun to do. It's impressive. So I'm so excited to just see, okay, you have basketball. Do you still have tennis? Do you still have, they had golf in GTA 5. What other sports could you play in GTA 5? Was it only tennis and golf? GTA 5 side activities. There are 61 total hobbies and pastimes. Oh yeah, you could even do like trafficking. They had darts. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, there was like flight school stuff, street races, hunting challenges with Trevor. That's great. Parachuting. I just fucking love this. You know that when Rockstar spends $1 billion making a game, they're making a game. This isn't like Star Citizen where they're making the idea of a game and then 100 ships that are in concept for 10 years. It's not that bad. I'm exaggerating. So I'm so excited to see all this because you know if they have like tennis, yoga, darts, that re-implementing this into GTA 6 is going to be cheaper than implementing it for the first time in GTA 5, right? Thankfully, that's the best part about making good, solid, modular, decoupled technology, is that it is reusable. What else do they have? Beyond basketball, what else did they add? Just how expansive is this gameplay footage going to be, and how much are they leaving out of that Netflix premiere? I'm excited. There are 2 companies that when they do showcases, I get excited. And for what it's worth, it is Bethesda as one of them, because I think that their marketing strategy is usually pretty damn good. Except for Fallout 76. Don't know what the fuck they did with that one. And then the other is Rockstar. They both remain tight-lipped until like a few months before release, and then they just drop all of the info. And like gameplay reveal, gameplay reveal, gameplay reveal, one after another. Okay, so an optional per actor override of physics arm settings. I think data assets could be used here. Maybe. What would be the benefit of using data assets here instead of a data table? Data assets would be a little bit easier in this case. Then we can make some data assets that are part of the plugin. And that might just be like ones like heavier and then like drag only. And then you could override it with your own stuff too. It's a bit of a refactor. This is not a small change, but it's also not a large change. It's just a, I don't know, more annoying than anything change. Should be easy though. Alright, let's see. Data. It should go in here. Actor physics arm presets. We'll need to make a structure too for this. ST simple player interaction grab throw physics arm presets. That's quite a long name, but it is accurate. Now, do we want it to have everything here, including the offset? Length min max, attached component max mass. Yeah, see, this is primarily what should have been driving it. I don't know if this is still used or not. It definitely says it is. Zero to 250 and then 0. So under max mass of 250, we should be multiplying that against the XYZ force. It absolutely should be working. Let me double check that it is. I'd still want the override though. Like that's a 250 now. But it looks normal. I mean, even on the player itself, I set it to 200. With a minimum force of 0, so theoretically we should only be applying 0. -56, -29, 10. Why is that not 0? Oh, we're never setting attached component mass. So it's a bug. I still think the refactor that we're going to do today is a good thing to do. But I am surprised that we don't ever set this. Yeah, look at this. Get mass. Actor grabbed. Huh. Maybe we're not... I actually don't know. Static mesh, cube. $250. Okay. Somehow that's getting reset. I wonder if one of our bindings is doing that. There's no way though. There's no way because we are literally only updating the mass once. And that's when we grab a new item. So unless this is running multiple times, which it definitely wasn't. Oh, wait. It's the wrong variable. We're updating attached component max mass. We need to be updating attached component mass. It's the wrong one. Now, where is this variable? This is a really complex component I made. Physics, arm, fine tuning, attached references, no, attached actor, mass. That will fix the problem. So at the very least, we fixed the bug. Yeah, look at that. Now we can't even drag it. And it just detaches itself. But if we put this to like 200, at the most we might be able to drag this along the ground. Yeah, we can't even lift it up. It's just, we can drag it. Although it's not falling to the ground. Very awkward. Probably because... Probably because we need to be applying Z-force even if our mass is high. And right now I'm adjusting for X, Y, and Z. Let me try and see what that looks like. Andre. Well, I was hoping that would be applying some negative downward Z force. I see, because we're doing the... Yeah, but it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be greater than or equal. And I don't know if we should be setting this to 0, but rather like -1. Because we want it to... If it's heavier, we want it to fall. We don't want the player to even be able to, like, hover it. Drag, yes. But then we have some friction that'll be applied because of the physical materials. That's fine. We want that. Now, that's not going to change anything here. I want to see... Why is this being a bitch? Show me the... That's annoying. Oh, because I showed the mass there. Never mind, it's fixed. Yeah, we're setting it to -1. This shouldn't be false, though. Or it's true. Wait. Oh, because it is at max mass. We could probably get rid of this and just let this feed into Z. Because now we're applying a negative downward force to it. It should feel weighty. It should feel weighty. Like, these are pretty light, right? We can move these around, no problem. This... It's not doing what I want. What the fuck? What the hell? What did we do to it? It's like it has no mass. Do we, like, update its mass or something? I mean, that's just if you update the... That allows you to modify the components or the primitive's mass. This is not updating the primitive's mass. Like, we're not sending it to the static mesh. Hmm. I mean, with just that change, it's gonna do the hover, right? This will give us the hover. Not even. Oh, because this should be... These are the wrong ranges clamped in here. That should be our max mass. Yeah, now we're too heavy. If we set that to even one lower, that should be within our tolerable range, although it's barely gonna move, if anything. It's starting to slide. It's lower to like 170 or something. We'll have to have some feedback for stuff that's like too heavy. I definitely want different Z-force ideally. And we would realistically want it to push down. But I'm wondering if it's fucking up with the target location and... If it's over that amount, I'm gonna plug into here. And we'll do -1 to 0 so that it is as it's getting higher. So we'll do max mass to max mass times 2. Just as a testing. It's actually in the wrong location, I think. I don't like that though. I want anything that's over that to be... Maybe not -1. Let me see what that does. So this should still be liftable. As normal. Once we hit that threshold, because it's greater than or equal, so we'll set it to 200. Yeah, it's not draggable at all, so instead of doing... Oops. We need to define where that threshold of negative Z force actually begins. But it needs to be communicated to the designer. And I don't know if we should nullify completely the... the horizontal movement. We only want to affect the vertical. What I want to do is if the item is too heavy to be picked up, it can be dragged. But right now the force is nullifying the Z. So it just hovers. Like you can't lift it up or down, but it hovers. So it's not really like, it doesn't feel like it's respecting physics, like you're dragging a heavy box where, you know, you fall, it goes off a ledge and it hits the ground. So, but I don't like the way that I'm clamping it here in a way that is meant to nullify it. That there is a maximum limit. And right now I'm trying to kind of override that, but I don't like the way that I'm overriding it. Because even if I achieve the result, I don't think it is going to feel good to modify the values. I'm trying to think, what are the numbers I want here? You know, if our min and max are 0 to 200, then this is not the max if we can still drag it, so we need to have like a drag max. Yeah, I can make larger, I can make anything heavier. And we do want a throwable item that can change the mass of the actor that it hits. And you know, we might use that for different like purposes of puzzles. But we need to do some refactoring. Do we want like 0 to 200 to be the max that you are allowed to move it vertically, and then after that you can drag it? So let's say 300, but between 200 and 300 now we have that negative downward Z thrust that we add. We don't allow any positive on the Z in those ranges. But we also wanted to do this refactor where you could, on a per actor basis, change its, I don't know, it's like, we either do it entirely based on mass, or we allow designers to determine what like drag or grab preset. So like a normal preset or a heavy item, and we just ignore mass altogether. I feel like we should kind of accommodate both. The physics control system that's built into Unreal is a little bit rigid. I like having more control over it. It's not mine. Unreal has enough black boxes. What's a typical Wisconsin morning greeting? There's gonna be a thunderstorm later. Do you want to come over? We can sit on the porch, drink some beer. Spoken like a true engine dev. I kind of actually made my own lighter version of gas for my interaction system without even knowing that that's what I was doing. Because I needed a decoupled way to manage through either separate plugins or my own in-game systems to control whether or not we can interact with something. Yeah, I would say that it's pretty accurate, Athano. Give me a thunderstorm later, come over, sit on the porch, drink some beer. Might even be a tornado. Never know. Sit out there, listen to the sirens, smell the rain. Some fresh cheese. Something like that, yeah. I mean, if we refactored this to allow for... I'd probably do a switch. You know, if I do a select here and then I do it off of an enum, it still has to evaluate all this math anyway, which is kind of a waste of performance. And we could probably accommodate both mass and not, because this is the only thing that really manages how it's moving through the air, is this math here. Hey, Jitspo, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, guys. Good morning or evening.
Jitspo raided misstream with 36 viewers.
Hello, 36 lovely people. Happy Thursday. Happy Netflix GTA 6 gameplay reveal day. Pretty exciting, huh? Except for one person in our chat who is not excited for GTA 6. Mainly because he wants to play it on PC. And he thinks he's gonna avoid spoilers for a year. Hasn't GTA already been revealed? Well, kinda, yeah. You're not excited. Okay, there's two of you. Maybe three? I'm pretty excited for it. I like immersive sim games. Even if it comes to PC, you won't play it. I always like the stories of Rockstar. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they have deepened simulation as a genre. Go off grid for a year to avoid spoilers. It's gonna be so hard to avoid spoilers. You haven't finished GTA 3. Oh, there's a couple of games to catch up on. I loved Red Dead Redemption 2 though. It's a cool game. You're gonna watch someone play it for you? Okay. You're out of that phase. You know, I don't really like playing online, but I do like I like the single player campaigns. But I think I'd rather watch people play online than play online myself. It used to be fun, and then they made it like grindy, and they made it whole live servicey. I don't know, the whole multiplayer landscape shifted around the time that GTA Online kind of came out. Welcome, welcome, guys. It's really nice meeting you. We keep things chill here. We get distracted often. We'll be watching some of the Gamescom gameplay stuff, because I haven't seen any of that yet. Well, except I saw a little bit of The Witcher, but but I want to watch it with you guys because I kind of just flicked through it. But nothing else. I think GTA will have that kind of a story. It will be very modern. You think so? I don't know. Does it mean new experience for your viewers? Seems like we have a lot in common then. Right now I'm trying to change our interaction, our grabbing system, so that heavier items are you know, can be dragged across the ground. Oh, this one's too heavy. I actually am not picking it up. Because normally you can just pick up an item and move it like this. And it's mass based right now, so things that are heavier will move slower. But things that are super heavy right now cannot be moved up and down, but also we're not applying any downward force. And it's a little bit unrealistic. I want to change that. But I also want to allow per actor override of how we pick it up. And I feel like I'm playing with two systems here, where one of them is entirely mass-based and another is like gamified. So we can specify, well, no matter this actor's actor's mass, I mean also mass of the ass, your ass effect makes my mass erect. So no matter the actor's mass, I also want the ability to override it and say, no, we want the player only to be able to drag this box, no matter what. That's the only kind of grabbing we allow. What do I think of Unreal 6 dropping blueprints for Verse? I think I'm not going to adopt Unreal 6 if they actually do that, because I have some people that use UEFN and have like worked with Verse, and they say it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible and not ready. I don't know what they're thinking here. Most Unreal games do not have a CPU problem. They have a GPU problem. And I think bloating the engine with more, you know, like UEFN bullshit on top of already having a whole bunch of architectural visualization and filmmaking stuff inside of it is just, what are you doing? It's not horrible, just not ready. Well, that's what I mean by horrible. There's already scripting language support. There's Lua support. There's, I know there's JavaScript support. A little bit unrealistic. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should just... I'm thinking of making a an option here where you can either have mass-based or per actor, but then at the same time, maybe I want both. So maybe by default, it's always mass-based. And if we determine an actor override with either like a data asset or a data table, I'm leaning towards data asset for this usage specifically, then we can just plug those in and use those values. That's what I'm thinking. It would be really weird. I mean, blueprints are not significantly slower than... It all depends, right? It's nuance. If you have a whole bunch of nodes in a loop that's ticking every frame, sure. You know, it's going to be more... it's going to be cheaper to run that in C++. But you can also have a game that runs perfectly fine on blueprints. So I don't know why they're doing it. I want to do something that solves a multi-server code problem. I mean, are people having trouble making games with the way that Unreal is right now, or the way that Unreal Engine 4 was? No. So it seems like they're just forcing in Fortnite into Unreal and making it harder for people who have already adopted and gotten used to the engine to continue using it. I mean, I'm all supportive of more Lumen and Nanite optimizations, I think, as with any Unreal developer. But I don't know what they're doing with the scripting. Yeah, and the AI bullshit, I'm tired of that too. Rider is better. Yeah, Rider is great. You can use Rider with Unreal and it's way, way better. 100%. I use Rider 2 and it's great for Unreal. I can't do blueprints. Somebody else was saying that same thing yesterday. I don't know. I don't use AI when I develop. I don't really like it. It doesn't make me smarter. So I struggle through things, you know. It takes me a bit longer to do some things sometimes, but I learn a lot more that way. Default to mass-based grabbing. I think we'll do a scalar grabbing with deteriorating force as mass gets higher. Max mass for positive vertical movement. Then another scale to slowly add negative Z force. Then an optional per actor override of physics arm settings. I think that'll be nice. Not a small change though. Thanks for the follow, Nick. I think any use of AI, even if you know what you're doing, you deteriorate your own skills. It's like saying, well, I don't know how to do my taxes, so I'm gonna have my dad do my taxes because he's done it before. Like, okay, your taxes are done. Did you learn how to do taxes though? Because your dad's not gonna be around. Your dad might fuck it up. Do you know how to teach other people to do taxes now? No, you don't. So you have gained nothing. You have increased your knowledge by null. Hey, take care, Nick. Nice meeting you. God, what an asshole that Nick guy. Kidding. Oh, I don't want to refactor this. Still don't know how my fridge works. It's a little bit different though. You're not required to learn, but you know, there are, I think actually you bring up a point where like home improvement, right? Let's say your fridge starts breaking or something starts, I don't know, something starts making noise in the fridge, in the components. If you learned how to do that, you would save a lot of money hiring somebody to do that for you. And when you hire somebody to do it for you, they're not going to teach you mostly. Although I think some, you know, electricians or plumbers might be able to teach you some stuff like that if you ask them nicely. No, it's like you can train yourself, you can learn, just be curious, take the time, and I think you will always come out ahead in life. Yeah, I can't make GTA 6. Maybe AI can make Star Citizen though, because clearly the developers don't know what they're doing with the engine. Amazon Lumberyard. Okay, let me focus for 2 seconds, then we can get distracted for 2 hours. We want another range here. With like physics arm, attached component max mass, or like positive Z movement. That is long though, but it is accurate. And I do prefer longer variable names if they're accurate. It does look silly though, but whatever. Yeah, you can't learn everything. I agree with that. But you know, you would think that people who want to like are using AI for their careers. Like if you're asked how to solve a problem in the future and you never learned how to solve that problem because you just let AI do it. I mean, is that not like the biggest self-report ever? You can't teach anybody, so you're useless as like a leader. Because all you would tell people to do is, well, I don't know, just ask AI how to do it. That's what I did. Like 5 minutes of thinking and you realize that using AI as a crutch for your own ignorance is probably the stupidest thing you can do for your own future. It's not really like attached component max mass for dragging, but for no movement. We still want to allow... I almost feel like a curve would be better here. Like an XYZ curve. Yeah, I mean, why hire AI engineers? I mean, at a certain point, if AI can just do all this stuff, then you have no need to hire people, which means you're just working yourself out of a job. And the value of things that are created by AI will just continue to dwindle because the better it gets, then the easier it is to create that without needing a whole team of people behind it. You just ask your AI, said that you're wrong. Damn it. I knew it. Like, I don't know what people think, like, oh, I'm just gonna generate this game with AI. Like, okay, that means that if somebody else wanted to generate a game with AI, that's all they need to do is pay a $20 subscription to this service, and now they have it. So why would they pay you for your game when they can just make the game themselves? Congratulations. You've made something with no value whatsoever. And I think when it comes to like art, like games, music and stuff, I don't think that the people will reject humanity for the sake of consuming, or at least that's my kind of naive hope, is that people will probably see it as a fad and then be like, this is kind of just, I want to be spoken to by a human. You know, I want to have an actual person write these lyrics and sing this song or make this game for me or write this TV show and act it out. You know, when we say that like this AI art stuff is soulless, it just means that it is lacking humanity. Right now our X and Y get completely stopped, right? Because we multiply by 0. So once we reach that maximum mass, so like this is 200. Let me move back here so we can test with some other stuff. This is 200. This one is 150, let's do. And we'll make this one 250. Right now we can move this one, it's very slow. Really hard to raise up and down. Oh, hold on, I royally fucked up. I copied the static mesh and not the actor. Oopsies. Okay, that's fine. This one will do nothing because it's too heavy, and this one apps. Huh? What the fuck? When did I turn into Superman? What the hell? Why is... What changed? There is no way that's the way that it was before. There's no way. I completely nerfed the player's ability to like push stuff like that. What the? It almost feels like it's inverted or something. How come I can barely push this thing, which weighs... Oh, they do weigh 200, I guess. Oh no, this one weighs 200. Well, how much does this one weigh? 37. How come I can't push the 37 kilogram object at all? Which is what we want. I guess I can. Okay, maybe I always could do that and I just never noticed. Okay, we have a problem. The feet, I don't know. I really did nerf our push force factor though. It's usually 75,000. I lowered it by a factor of 10. I could turn off scaling to velocity. Touch force scaled to mass. Applied per kilogram mass of the effect. Wait. The touch force factor is applied per kilogram mass of the affected object. I don't want that. Doesn't that sound like it's going to increase it if it weighs more? You think it's the skeletal mesh? Maybe. You might be right. Well, it's not like I can turn off collision. Has it really always been doing that? Oh, I don't like that because it kind of just completely breaks the idea of mass as like a whole. Are we sure that my collision preset changes didn't mess that up? Here's what we'll do. Save nothing. Undo everything. I know what I changed. I know what I fixed today, so... Let me go back. To verifiably before I made any changes to collision presets. It's possible. I just never noticed it before. It's a massive flashbang. Let me just throw this over here. Okay. No hit. No, it's totally fine here. I think my collision preset modifications yesterday screwed something up. Let's verify that. I don't know how that could have changed though. I mean, unless, okay, this was when the, ignore that, we fixed that error. I would lose my mind though if we fixed that error and that somehow caused this problem. Yeah, like of course you can still kind of move it a bit if it's moving, but that's normal. Otherwise, it's, you know, they're rocks. They are absolute units. So clearly it was collision channel changes. Okay, let's make that our new priority. Since this whole thing I am kind of still thinking about from a design standpoint. And right now it's not a big deal, but it would be nice to have the player be able to drag stuff on the ground and some things to be too heavy to pick up unless you purposefully lower their mass with another item. Okay, so we were using custom collision down here, and realistically it should be the exact same general thing. We block all of these. We had trace complex on move. That's still enabled. Oh, no, the character mesh does not have collision enabled. It was query only. Okay. That might be that's probably the problem. We'll change the preset then. That might have been it. Okay. Thanks, Andre. You pointed me in the right direction. That was thankfully nothing more dangerous. Hey, Cheesela! Ass is greater than boobs.
Ciślagredio just subscribe, has więcej niż Bobs.
In Polish text-to-speech. It always messes up the funniest things. Okay, that's a lot better. We want items to kind of have this permanent feel. Obviously, some smaller things or lighter things will be movable, but we could very easily mess up physics if the player could just push everything. That's a lot better. Okay, easy fix. Let's go and fix the other bug that we had. Kind of. So you're an ass guy, Cheesla. Do you like a big one, a medium one, or a small one? What's your ass preference? Okay, this we need to fix. Although this is... Yeah, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. However, this inherently has now changed interaction at Redlock by fixing this bug. It would be really nice if we could... having some control over this would be nice. Although what's kind of weird is that it was setting the max mass to the current attached primitive mass. What effect was that actually having on it? Because theoretically then... Oh, well, attached component mass would have been 0 because it would have been null. Because we weren't updating it. So we would have always been providing the full... force that you could provide. And it was just linear. It was just everything that you could pick up had the same force applied to it. So there was no difference in what you picked up. Everything had the same weight, essentially. Now that we fixed that, things that are heavier are going to move slower, as you can see here, versus things that are lighter. Now, I like the feeling of weightiness, but I didn't actually mind how it felt before. If that makes sense. Kind of weird. I almost liked when everything was just the same. But this is a plugin, so we need it to work not just for this game, but for other games too. So having some ability to modify that would be really nice. We could have a B ignore attached primitive mass when grabbed. Yeah, and what that will do, let's add the variable here. default will be false. But in this case, we'll just leave attached component mass to 0. Or we can just do a select node. Okay, so that'll just ignore it. We'll move this into the right place later. Or I'll do it here. Okay, default false, so that's going to work the same as before. And I mean here, if we are ignoring force, then we'll just let this play out. It's still going to evaluate all the math, but that's fine. We need to evaluate up to here anyway. Scalar grabbing with deteriorating force. We have that, and we don't want that. We want that to apply a little bit differently to the Z value for force addition. And my thinking was having the max mass for positive vertical movement, another scale to slowly add negative Z force. We could also use X and Y curve, and then a separate Z curve. This is our current Z calculation. And basically, if we hit our threshold or exceed it, then we just don't add any Z. But I think that if it is exceeding it, then we really should be applying Let's see if we can prototype something. Something really simple. We'll take an absolute value of where we want it, because we're going to override where we want it to go. We're not going to use... Actually, we're not going to multiply it at all against where we want it to go, because we're completely overriding it. So no multiplication. And instead just do a scale. Let's mock it up. We kind of do like 0 to 5. Oh no, we do 0 to 25,000. We add more force based on distance, so that the further away it is, the more force we're adding to kind of get it to that proper point. I think here we're going to ignore that and just do... that downward force. Let's pull this out. something I don't have much experience with, especially when it comes to chat's mom. And we'll set this to, yeah, we'll do 100, 150. Oops, I am not copying the actor. $100. We'll do just at the threshold, $199. We'll do just over the threshold, and then I'll do like $250 or something. And see how each of these feel. This should be really weighty. This feels floaty though, it doesn't feel weighty, it just feels floaty. I don't really like that, it feels like unresponsive. Okay, this can only be dragged. Can't even pick that up at all. And this has so much downward force that it is just stuck there. All right, let's try something. It's not really applying downward force. I mean, it should be a... Oh, it is an acceleration change. Because I'm kind of mimicking the mass issue. What if I just remove that? I don't actually know why we turned that on. Wouldn't that just solve all my problems? Oh, I think this whole thing needs a refactor. I liked it before. I liked it before. I don't know how to say it, but I think I prefer when it's just responsive. That items are items. Something about it just feels right. Oh Let me think. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I've gotten so used to just being able to pick up items, and at the very least, I like to change that we can enable it to use mass. I mean, because that's easy, right? That was an easy change. And now we can just disable that anytime we want. So this will put us back to what we had before, where something can just be picked up and moved, and we don't care about the mass of it. It does make it a little bit easier from a design standpoint because we just make items, and we can balance what they do when the player has it based on factors other than mass. And we could still use mass of the object in puzzles, of course, right? But when it comes to the player moving it around, in-game lore reason is your manipulator, or whatever we want to call it, is accounting for mass to normalize the change in velocity. It also just means that when you pick up an item, you don't have to guess what it's going to do, especially with stacking. And I think for a game that we are going to emphasize building your own platforms like this, we can kind of let shapes and individual objects be the defining factor rather than mass being a included variable in that. And yeah, I'm coming up with excuses right now, like 100% of why I don't want to refactor this. But I got used to this to the point that I forgot that it wasn't supposed to work like this. But because of that, I also like it more. It's just simpler. It's predictable. And in a lot of cases, that makes for better design. I did write it down though, right? Yeah. Yeah. Grab throw not respecting mass. I'm going to keep it here, but I'm not going to write that we need it for the demo. We can always try to fix it. I'll talk to Kotspur about it because maybe he has some ideas that are outside my box. We kind of purposefully designed the grabbing to feel floaty, but when you start slowing it down to try to respect mass, it doesn't actually feel better. It feels worse. It feels slower, sluggish, not in a good way. I do like the dragging, but I'd rather handle the dragging. I do like the dragging. I want to implement the dragging on a per actor basis. I want to have the dragging. But I'm not going to modify the whole arm settings. I'm just going to handle it in some other way. What are the conditions to create the drag? This one drags, right? This is at 200 mass, so it's only when our mass is equal that we... Let's print that. So that's picking up. You can see the big XY changes. It's a little bit hard to see. This is the dragon, so we cannot move it up or down. We're completely nullifying the Z and severely limiting the XY. And then I think there is some friction. I'm not 100% sure on that though. The only problem is that if there ever is a change in Z, it's not going to fall to the ground. And if I apply too much negative force just to simulate that, then it's not going to drag at all because it's creating friction. I mean, it kind of is dragging, but not really. I mean, I don't hate that. That definitely just feels non-physical. I have an idea. I have an idea utilizing one of my other systems. So I have I have a component that I made called a physics watcher component. And what it does is it sends out certain signals depending on physics changes to an item. I could have it watch for a change in downward velocity, and if it overtakes that threshold, I could have it send a signal that detaches the item. And so then it would just respect normal physics, right? I don't know how I can do it. That doesn't mean I should do it. No, I'm not gonna don't you dare. I like the detach method. The detach method is good compared to refactoring. I would have to refactor the physics watcher component though, but it's a very small one. Right now I use it as a way to I use the physics watcher component right now to remove the ability to climb objects that are moving at over a threshold of movement, right? Because the built-in like physics wake and sleep is unreliable for this. And it's a little bit too touchy. Like you might bump into something a little bit and it wakes the physics object, which would prevent you from climbing it. So I overrode that by increasing the threshold kind of in like a pseudo way. And then I use my own wake and sleep events to add and remove the ability to climb on the object. And that way, if you like throw an item and try to climb on it while it's still tumbling through the air, it's impossible to do. I could expand on this component because it's already watching the physics, right? To, while the component is awake, check if we have any custom, velocities that we want to check. So we can say, okay, anything that's greater than -10 on the Z, send a message about that. And then if it reaches that, we can detach the item. Well, the reason why I think it's separate is that I am going to be plugging in the response on the game, but on the plugin, on my component plugin, I'm just going to be sending the message. And I can refactor that pretty easily and quickly with a way to just send messages on different velocity events. Because this would probably, hey Miss Sophie, this would probably apply to any item that we grab. Yeah, but only if its weight is over a certain amount. Only if it's a fat item do we want that. Big ol' hog of a box, for instance. And it would kind of just look like this in the data. It would be an array of... I would have to do... like a mass threshold. Mass threshold. I don't like this. I don't like the idea of doing it, but I have to do it with like this. And then it would, reset, of course, on the do ones. But this would just be a do once if it surpasses that threshold, whatever our comparison, and then wait until it is no longer valid. But I don't like that. Make a fan without changing the weight. Yeah, I could gamify it. We'd still have to watch. We'd still have to send this event, though. What's up, Rex? What are we doing? I don't even know anymore. We used to have a feature, if you remember from Immersive Sim Toolkit, we used to have a feature with dragging items that were too fat, right? I inadvertently actually broke that feature. weird, it froze. When I had recreated that feature in Redlock, the dragging. Now I can bring it back, but we're kind of simulating a downward force. So like I can't pick this thing up, but it can fall off ledges, but it's simulating a downward force. I can increase the downward force that we're simulating, but it's then only going to increase the friction, thereby making it kind of impossible to actually drag. So we like the dragging feature, but we almost need to control its downward thrust in a way that is kind of performant. And I don't know how we can accomplish this. I feel like it should be part of the plugin, the grabbing plugin that I made. If dragging is a feature, then we should also handle that drag within the system itself. I mean, we do know its velocity. We know if we're dragging it. We know its velocity. We could dynamically modify that downward force that we're applying based on its velocity. To mimic it in a way that is using information we already have, right? I don't know if we grab the velocity. We only care about the downward velocity, to be honest. Let me print that to verify that things are looking okay. Yeah, like on the ground, we're not really getting more than 10, but we can always say like, we can always scale that. Because it is a change in acceleration and not an add, we do not have to worry about kind of endlessly increasing that force. Let's see if we can simulate it. So this should be the threshold. And then we can kind of detect it's falling. I don't even know if we need to do a map range clamped, but rather... if it's greater than 15, we know it's falling. Or we can suspect that. If not, do that. Otherwise, we'll clean it up if it works. Get the velocity. Range us from 15 to... Something feels off here. I do kind of want to scale it up so it's not immediate. But let's do... Oops. Wait, isn't it because we're false? Yeah, when we're hacking in or ignoring the primitive mass, then this will always be false. Oh god, this whole thing is just a mess. What am I doing? Hold on. I think it's because that extra 50 there is allowing us to drag it. My screw up in forgetting to plug this in is giving us that extra 50 kilograms to play with. Because it's not fully reaching 0, so we're not fully nullifying. This is actually the thing that's allowing us to drag. So if I plug this in, we can't drag anymore. Am I right about that? My bugs been making a feature? My bugs have been making a feature. That's really funny. Yeah, I feel like this whole section just needs to be rewritten. We need to approach this with like an actual plan. You know what I could do is just Just do that right now to enable the behavior. I'm not gonna fuck with this right now. I'm kind of hacking in too much, and it really needs to be approached with a better, more permanent solution. That this isn't. That's fine. I have it written here, but let's write down our findings. Let's write it down here. Rewrite grab what is the function? Update attached actor location. Because we'll think about it and then approach it when we are like coming off of first playable. But for the first playable, I like the physics the way they are. I think it's easier to understand. So from a design perspective, I prefer it. Having more control and complexity to it is always great from a, we can do more than just this with this plugin. Wonderful. But we don't need to do that right now. And rather than hack it in, have it maybe kind of working or just ruining the configuration to the point that it's confusing is not going to be helpful to anybody. And it would still have to be rewritten in the future anyway. Or per actor control. Okay, that's fine. It's good finding. It's good to know that we did technically fix some issues. And we do have the Boolean in there to easily switch it to the other, to mask-based system if we want. I'm happy with that. Okay, what's other things I needed to do today? Slider widgets kind of need to be refactored. Check if drop logic can be better by not creating destroying prompt widget, but instead updating visibility. Don't want to do that. That's like the only bad performance thing we have in the game right now is when we pick up and drop an item. I believe that the reason it's happening is because it's trying to load an asset. I'll show you what happens. Okay. I'll let it stabilize. Pick up an item. Not really any big change. Mainly what we want to look at is the red graph, by the way, in the bottom left, because that's the game thread. That's what this will be running on, but when we drop it, we get that small spike. It is very unnoticeable, by the way. Though I do believe that it will get more significant. Okay, this algorithm, though, for spawning items is also a little bit chunky, but ignore that. You can see that spike, and I believe it's because of the creation of all of the widgets on each of the actors. We know that we need to move this to C++, so maybe it's just we're gonna let it exist, knowing that it needs to be moved to C++. Because each of them is ticking for a couple reasons. Number one, for occlusion, since they are screen space widgets, and then also for opacity. But But it's only really noticeable when you have tons of them in a small range like this. And I believe it's generally less noticeable when you are only near like one. Although it's still a bit significant. I mean, there's no way that it could just be due to... Maybe I'll profile it. Let's profile it. It'd be nice if we can resolve that. Hold on, I can just do a trace snapshot, can't I? Okay, let's give it a second. Let's let it stabilize. What's the trace? Isn't it just snapshot? We can just do like trace screenshot. It says writes a snapshot of the current, takes a screenshot and saves it in the trace. No, I just kind of want... What the fuck is the actual trace one? Snapshot. You know what? I'll just play in selected viewport. Go pick something up and drop it. I don't really notice a big spike here. That's kind of weird. Oh. Oh no, never mind. I turned on the glow stick. How come I don't notice the spike here? It's very minimal. Very odd. Okay, let me actually do a proper trace. We'll take a look at that. That's really odd to me. I wonder if something is being created when it shouldn't be. If they're not overlapping you as a player, they shouldn't be, like, there should be nothing to create or destroy. And I wonder if maybe if they're loaded, it's doing something that it shouldn't be doing. Is it this spike? It's gotta be this one. Yeah, see? Yeah, look at all the creations. So even if they're loaded, it's creating that. That should not be happening. It should only be creating the ones that are actually within range of the player. So as I suspected, anything that's loaded is having that, which is obviously not what we want to do. Only the one right around the player. Okay, so why is that happening? Let's go figure that out. When the player drops, what have we bound? What fires in the play? Because I believe that it is firing in the play. I don't think that we bound... Well, maybe we did. To actor interaction allowance updated. Global interaction allowance updated. Okay. Yes, we are. We never check if it's actually in range of the player. Okay. That's why. We do not register, we only send events. If I disable that binding, don't we already run a recheck? This might be redundant. It's not redundant for begin play. However, it has fixed our spike. On begin play though, we should already be checking begin play setup prompt collider, setup interaction prompt collider, force begin overlap with overlapped interactables. It's like we are purposefully running a check. It's possible that that is running before anything is initialized. I mean, in which case we can just delay it, right? By like tiny little bit. There isn't a different way we can resolve this though, which is to query the overlap. All right. I don't know, this should be doing it though. Granted, the only thing this is really doing is if the player is starting the game or is reloading a save where they are overlapping with something that is interactable, we're building that prompt. Thank you, Kent. I believe in genocide of minorities, so thank you for blessing everything I stand for. Glad to see you're a supporter. We do find them. I don't believe that, by the way. Just so anybody's new and is wondering, I don't believe that. My god, why is that taking so long? Oh. It's on the other screen, that's why. Oh, the player hasn't been allowed yet. Why has the player's interaction allowance not been verified? Or is it because we start the player in a menu? Because obviously we're starting the game, it's pausing it since we're in a menu, and we don't show interaction prompts in menus. But then when I press this, it should still create them, and it's not. Well, no, it's trying to. It's running the overlap, but we're in a menu, so it fails. I close the menu, but I have unbound creation to the global interaction allowance. I see my issue. The thing that's destroying us is also the thing that's saving us. I do need this hooked up. I need this hooked up, but we need another way to check this. I wonder if, can I do a like, can I test if an actor is overlapping? Is overlapping actor component? That's a component. Other component. I could. Oh, I literally already have this. It's Query if actor is overlapping prompt collider. I literally already made it. Okay, why am I not using that then? It sounded familiar. It sounded like something I would have made. I'm surprised I didn't look it up here. Maybe I felt like I didn't need it. Yeah, I even put it in the function library, so this should be really easy. Too soft. Oh, hold on. This is a component. How complex is this query? Should be pretty chill, and we do a validity check. So this should reduce the overhead. There's still going to be a little bit because they're each going to check. But I don't think it'll be bad. Hey guys, North. Using UE5 and BP for about 3 months. Yeah, learning a lot's really enjoyable. Nice. I was thinking of going hard into C++. Wondered if people think it's worth time when everything is becoming automated. Number one, don't use AI. Learn. I promise long term it's going to be much better for your future. I think that it's important to know both C++ and UE5 or blueprints if you're planning to get a job in the industry, because professional studios will use both. And if you don't know how to make, expose your functions or variables well for designers and artists to work with, then you're going to find it really difficult to be a professional programmer. But I think you're fine leaning harder into C++ than blueprints, since they are going to be more performant. But knowing how to expose that and make it easier for people to work with the classes and functions that you make is going to be top tier. Being able to show that on interviews where it's like, I made this system, it's a plugin, C++, but I also exposed all these functions, this library for designers, added in, comments and explanations so that, if we wanted to use this professionally, or if you hire me, I know how to create this for the other people on our team. And not using AI will also mean that you can teach that and you can explain it without having to say, well, I don't know what I did because AI did it for me. You might, I don't know, learn a bit slower or have a bit of a tougher time, but I promise, learn it yourself and you'll be paid way more. Tools program, everyone loves custom tools. Yes, they do. They do. Tools and systems. If you're working at a company that makes RPG games and, has a lot of dialogue with NPCs or whatever, being able to make those systems that you can just carry from one game to another will dramatically reduce cost and, time, and then also complexity of making game number 2, 3, 4, thereby reducing the cost of the development of the game. Everyone will love you for that. Everybody will love you for that. So hopefully that answered that question. Could even do this check right away. Yeah, thanks for the follow, dude. Just trying to be efficient without fully relying on AI. It's simply everywhere I look. Yeah, I know. I know. I can only say if you're like, if you have the mindset that you're trying to avoid it, that's already better than a lot of the programmers I see. That legitimately should help. Let's see if that has helped performance. Let it normalize. Yeah, that fixes the performance issue we have. Oh, you guys can't see it. Hold on. Let me... Okay. Let it stabilize. Pick up. Drop. No more spike. Beautiful. Problem solved. Thankfully, that was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. I mean, even when we're talking about performance, everything I make is blueprints, and it runs pretty damn well. But it's always good to have that program on the side who knows how to convert it, move it over. And I think that if you're working in a really, really good studio, you will have designers bring you prototypes that they've made, like some of the systems I've made here. And then with a design document and the prototype, they'll be like, okay, your job now is to make this, convert this over into proper classes, fix up any issues. And I know some programmers who just can't read blueprints, so like knowing both of those is just going to make you that power programmer. The one that, and I will tell you, I was just talking with a couple designer friends the other day. Designers have in their mind a tier list of programmers that they like to work with. We don't ever talk about it, but we do have it. And there are programmers that we do not like to work with because they don't understand game design. They don't really expose variables unless we explicitly tell them to. Knowing some game design never hurts as a programmer. Unless you want to be like an engine programmer. Then, you know, fuck it right, but... if you want to be a gameplay programmer. Okay, we fixed this bug, or performance issue, really. I see you like the ones that always say yes. No, I don't. But what I really like, if I had to give my recommendations to gameplay programmers or aspirant programmers that want to work in gameplay, read the design documents. They're written for a reason. They often contain specific cases or methods that we expect to have. The best ones will have structures, you know, even some flow charts if they're necessary. Read the design document thoroughly first. Then, you know, like have a meeting with us. Ask, you know, write down questions you have, things that maybe you don't understand, because documents are not perfect. They're often at best like 90% complete under ideal circumstances. And there may be things that are just poorly written and that you don't, you know, you want to clarify. So always clarify. There's no bad question for a designer. Then I would say just verify like the data with us, because oftentimes we're doing a lot of balancing and having things in a data asset, for instance, or if you make a system in Unreal that uses data assets, that can be significantly more difficult for us to balance because we cannot import data assets into Unreal. But you can export and import data tables from CSV. So that means that we can have an Excel spreadsheet with our balance and then export it to CSV, load it into Unreal. Beautiful. So just, you know, knowing things like that and how to make it easier for designers to do their job is is really key. Asking questions, offering like better things like, hey, if we did it this way, it would be cleaner. And, you know, will that be good for you? But we know when programmers don't read our design documents. We know it. We don't like it. Gameplay tag root config. I won't fuck with that for now. Better slider widget, not gonna fuck with that. Input context manager into a subsystem, not gonna deal with that right now. Anything with GameplayCLI? We'll spend like the last 3 to 4 hours of the stream just watching Gamescom footage. I want something smaller to do right now. Test loading generic non-subsystem object to run commands like authorization tag unlocks. Oh yeah, I did want to check that. That actually should be pretty easy. Yeah, I'm a game dev day to day. I'm in the industry for about 12 years. Just crazy, 12 years. Worked on some good games, worked on some not so good games. Don't envy me, man. The industry's horrible right now. If I had like, I don't know, just... When I look in the window of like a grocery store and I see workers in there just doing their job, I envy them because they get paid, they get to go home, it's probably not super stressful, they're not getting fired and laid off, competing with thousands of other people for the same bullshit jobs. The industry's not great, but hopefully it'll get better. Work on roofs in the middle of summer. Do you get paid pretty well though? I mean, roofing is, from everything I've heard, just absolutely physically demanding and horrible. But do you at least get paid? Should I upload what I have? I'm gonna upload it. Fixed issue with player collision. Added Boolean for controlling whether grab throw respects mass. Fixed performance when dropping a grabbable item. Alright, let's jump back in. Pays are up and worth the toll on the body. I'm sorry to hear that. Read 80% of creatives do not meet minimum wage. I can only tell you this. Programmers get paid the most. Artists, second. Then designers. Then QA. And I would certainly change that flow if I had the ability. I'd more equalize it if anything. Realistically, there are tons of programmers, but also finding good designers. It's a very high responsibility job because you have your hands in everything, right? And finding a bad designer can just kill your game. Worse than finding a meh programmer. QA though is completely underrated. It really is. QA does a shit ton of work. They have a lot of responsibilities. And having no or bad bug reports means that those bugs can oftentimes just not get fixed. And bad launches, depending on the type of game you're making, can dramatically decrease the revenue that you get in the first week. About security? There is no job security in game dev. There is no such thing. And if you aren't able to just pick up your life and move it sometimes to a different country, your chances of finding a job are kind of null. especially as a junior. Juniors have no chance, and even seniors are just... Oh, cybersecurity, much better. You make money there. You will definitely make money there. And I think that the need for cybersecurity people is only increasing. You can still make games in your free time, by the way, as like a hobby or just on the off chance, but if Punka, if you are a cyber, you can back me up or refute me. It's up to you. Even for the sake of it, fuck me, right? I need to be in the network subsystem. This is still a work in progress, so it's going to be all kind of messy and everywhere. Do we have a run command? I do not. Let's make that run file. I'm just gonna kind of like hard code it, just to test if what I actually set up works. You think the security sector is getting swallowed by AI? Ugh. AI is a very legitimate use in security since it's mainly pattern recognition. Maybe if implemented properly, but do you expect companies to implement it properly? Or could I just, you know, hack into a company and say, no, I am the admin. I actually am. And chat, you know, their chat GPT implementation will be like, okay, yeah, you're right. You are an admin. Oh, you work for the government. Okay, so you can't say much. We're gonna hard code the fuck out of this right now. Actually, when we initialize objects within the command line interface, and there's a file there, do we actually... Do we store information on that anywhere? Let's add in a file. File structure. File name. File type. Should it be like an execute? Actually, I don't even know. ST GameplayCLI file type runnable object. Test.exe. Definitely not a virus. What are you doing, M. Simmons? Python or C? Is that like the new Spanish or English meme? I've heard Python is kind of slow. I mean, C++ is way more versatile from what I know. But I don't know about it in like the software sector or cybersecurity. Alright, I'm gonna add a runnable object base here, because whatever. Run object program. Let's print hello. Now, do we actually see that? Wait, list will only do... That won't do it. Tree will do it, though. Oh, no, tree won't. It's, directory that will. Okay, I do see test.exe in here. Okay, that's a good thing. Let me double check what our variables look like. I don't think it would be considered a valid invocation. No. Object invocation map. We don't really care about that, but we do care about valid drive content. So we do have it in here. It should be usable then. Oh, ignore that. I just put that there so I know that I have to put something there. Okay, run file then. We're going to get this. We're going to check if it is in... here. Or maybe we'll do a find. Do you do tertiary education to enter the industry? No. I actually modded a game, and the mod became so popular that they hired me to work on the game, and then I leveraged that into full-time work. So, I wouldn't say self-taught, but not formally taught. Greater than or equal. We'll do proper checks on this later. Found content index. It feels amazing in hindsight. It was a very lucky. It was lucky. I don't know if something like that can still work nowadays. It's a big gamble. Luxury of youth. I actually think there's more luck involved nowadays than there was back then. Filed a complaint with 2 banking regulators as well as called their corporate office and advised them that I wanted a new bank trust officer as well as that I had evidence of coercion and endangerment. What the fuck? Made them confirm repeatedly that all I wanted was a new trust officer, so I think I may have just made them a little nervous. Nothing too chaotic. Oh man, what a Thursday. I had some problem, I don't know, I had like similar problems where if you don't describe a problem perfectly in one way or another, people will just like mistake you. I'm always too soft spoken in doctor's offices. Like I'm trying to describe the problem without sounding afraid or upset or like it's a big deal, because I'm just trying to describe exactly what I'm feeling when I felt it, and some of my suspicions along with that. But because I'm not freaking out, sometimes doctors don't take it like it's a big serious problem. And so they'll just, I don't know, okay, we'll do a test, whatever, you know, here's a medication. It's like, it's not really what I wanted. I had that problem recently before my surgery. And I had to play Phoenix right for myself because the doctors weren't doing dick. Can we just get the index of the current drive contents with this index? I think we can. And then we can just do a get instance struct value as a runnable file. And obviously if that fails, then it isn't a runnable file. Evidence was a text message from the trust officer, and at the time they were withholding an advance of trust funds to have me sign a deed. I was still in the old house, which was classified as a biohazard. I'm not gonna ask. I also have pics of the house and nothing too damaging. Deed was for your share. That sounds way too complex. We'd have to create an object, right? Construct object from class. I don't know if we can construct it and just run it. I mean, theoretically. I'm not going to feed anything into it for now, because we just need to test if it actually runs. I'm just gonna hook up placeholder errors right now. This should load it into memory. I almost might make a reference of it and then do like a callback, because if I stored this object in an array, then I know that it'll stay in memory as long as it's referenced. And then once the program has run, we can call back and have it remove that, no matter if it's successful or failing, and then destroy that object. Although I think I would just release it, and probably the garbage collector will take care of it. We'll have to see. Typing code in BASIC? Yeah, that's how I learned too. When I was younger, I was doing BASIC. And then I actually did make a game in batch. It was a text RPG called The Crypts of Woe. It was a full text RPG. It was kind of cool too. Like, it had its own little treasure animation, full combat system too. You could equip different items and stuff. That was like my first actual like coded game. That was a long time ago. Let's see if this works. I didn't see any print. I wonder if it's doing a... Let's see what it's doing. Oh, you know what? We might not have hooked up the function. Yeah, I didn't hook it up. It printed hello. I saw it. It printed hello. Now the big question is that going to release it back to the garbage collector? I don't see it here, so it looks like it did run it. I am a little bit worried that if the content within that object gets more complex, that maybe it'll release it to the garbage collector too soon. So I think I might still do the... Where did it hit? Not valid. Oh, maybe it printed the wrong hello. Wait a second. Get current drive contents at the found content index. These must be separate. These must be different. They shouldn't be different. They must be different. Never mind, it didn't work. I literally see it there. Nuh-uh. What the fuck? File type runnable object. ST GameplayCLI file type. Oh, because it's the... Okay, we first need to test the file type, and then... Because it might not be a runnable object. It could be like a text file. I just need to test the one deeper into it. I need to test one deeper. Yeah, okay. I got it. There we go. I love instant structures, though. I think this might be the greatest discovery I've had since MVVMs. I'll change this to say like run fail just so that we can differentiate. Who's splashing? Run test.exe. It hit. It did it. That's a success. Now, do we release that back into... Does garbage collector come and pick that up? It should. There should be nothing referencing it. Let me trigger the GC. Oh god, what is the... It's like run every frame or something. It does release it. Okay, okay. So we can just leave that there then. What's the project you're working on? It is a... Well, yeah, it looks like shit right now, but it is a hard sci-fi puzzle platformer with immersive sim elements called Redlock. And if you want to think about the gameplay, think of a mining facility on a very harsh exoplanet far away from Earth that undergoes a disaster, and you have to climb up about 3 kilometers of ruined station in order to escape. That's your only goal, escape. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what systems you do or don't use. You can bypass entire puzzles or rooms just by thinking creatively. There's no right or wrong solution. Your only goal, escape. It's going to be a game for people who like systems and like to break games. I really appreciate you saying that. We've had really good... People seem to like the concept. Now we just have to test out the gameplay and make sure people like that too. We're hoping to have a demo out. It's... You know, this is like pre-production demo, right? So it's just going to be the gameplay, no visuals. It's going to look like shit, no sound, no visual effects. But we'll have 3 rooms, each focusing on different parts of the gameplay and then combination of gameplay to see, hey, do you like interacting with this? Do you like the problem-solving aspect? Do you like the systems, picking stuff up, moving them around, disassembling, fabricating, you know, reading files and manipulating objects on a command line, climbing up things and platforming. The game was originally just going to be a platforming, like a precision platformer. And we'd made a block out of kind of the first part of this gameplay here. We'll go up to like a room that's actually pretty significant. And people seem to like this gameplay. So, you know, you have this whole room, geothermal generators in the back there. It should feel immersive and... Oh my god, I almost missed that. Oh, there is a bug. Ignore that. You're jumping on crystals and rocks floating in lava. That's what these are supposed to be. And people seem to like this. It was very simple, very understandable. We do not have a Steam page yet, because otherwise we'd have to take screenshots of this. So we need better stuff. But I think for a proper vertical slice, we're probably looking at... Oops, I just died. You actually just helped me find a bug, but I need to fix it. Before I do that though, yeah, we want to have a proper Steam page, but we need to have a vertical slice ready so that we can take proper screenshots, make like at the very least, a cinematic trailer, but we want to show gameplay with that too, so that the first time people see our game in like a marketing setting, you know, we make it the best first impression that we can. But we will for sure, when we have a demo, we're going to have a demo. We're going to keep that demo up all the time so that people can try out the game before they buy it. No DRM, of course, and if people want to pirate it, they can. That's all far in the future, though. Most likely, we'll be going to early access to help build the game alongside the community. Let me go to the bathroom, and then I'll fix the bug that I just found. Because of course there's bugs, but that's what we're doing today. If you want to try it, the newest demo that we're gonna make will be like distributed on our Discord, so you can try it out. I mean, it really is just gonna look like this at best. It's just gonna be blocked out because we only want to see if the gameplay is fun. Otherwise, you know, what's the point in making it look better? But you'll be able to try it. We want to have 3 rooms, 1 with platforming, so that's kind of just going to be what the game used to be with precision platforming. And people did find that fun, so hopefully it'll be fun again. Then a safe puzzle, so you won't be able to like die from it, but it'll be a puzzle that you can solve. And then a hazardous platforming plus puzzle. So a bit of a mix of this kind of hazardous platforming here and then some small puzzle to solve. And it will be fully playable with gamepad. I'm hoping somebody does play it with gamepad just to tell me how it feels. Now, why is my platform screwing up? On begin overlap. This is my issue. Because we're overlapping interaction prompt class. Okay, I need to make another preset. This should be an easy fix. Platform. Query and physics. Object type. World dynamic. And we're gonna block traces. Ignore interaction prompt. I will let it overlap with disassembly collider. Overlap hazard, overlap resonant induction. Block, 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 block. Should be good. I hope you do enjoy me troubleshooting until I don't succeed. There's a lot of times where I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay, set it to platform. Overlap mesh. I think the overlap mesh can ignore everything. Is there an ignore? Well, it's no collision, right? Oh, except that is not really... No, we shouldn't need collision. No, we do need collision. I do need collision on. This one is actually the one that needs the collision. This is... Overlap. Fuck, what does this need to overlap? This needs to overlap world static, world dynamic, pawn physics body. We're not going to have like vehicles or destructibles necessarily, so we can have those overlap too. Maybe I'll make another preset. This is the one that actually responds to the player standing on the platform. We just do like a small overlap on the feet. So is this one fine then? Yes. This one... Fuck it, I'll make a new one. The reason why you should make a preset instead of doing collision is that it is a lot faster to do checks for performance. This is something I learned recently from a friend of mine. Apparently when you have it custom, it has to go through everything, versus when you do a preset, it can apparently perform that check a lot quicker. Query only. This is a collide. We treat this as a collider, just with a custom shape. Overlap, overlap, overlap. Overlap, overlap. Ignore everything else. Hopefully that works. Yeah, I also wasn't aware, so we have a lot of custom collision setups here that I need to fix. It's not too bad, but I need to just be mindful of that. I never thought to consider it before. Okay. That's working again. These are supposed to mimic like rocks that are floating in the lava, and as you stand on them, they sink deeper. That's working. Right now, they only interact with the player, though. I kind of want to allow the player or any physics object to be fun. Especially with our new kind of systems and making this a sandbox game. We want this to be speedrunner friendly too, but you don't have to speedrun it. There's going to be nothing that will compel you to do it in a certain amount of time. And you can turn off the timer in the upper right, or you will be able to. But we think it'll be fun to enable speedrunners. We provided them with a lot of optional pathways, time skips, hidden secrets that might make the run faster. And of course, casual players can find those too. Oh my god, I thought I missed. Yeah, apparently just like making custom object and trace channels and then making presets and using those diligently. This is KCD 1. This is a mix of all the general town songs. There's like 4 of them or something. It's good music. KCD has really good music. We have hazards as well, so there's some radioactive crystals here. Oop. Third-person cameras are very difficult to get right in tight spaces. That'll need future tweaking. And don't worry, the stupid footstep sound is just temporary. We have to change it for each physical material that the player can step on, like rocks or metal. Right now it's just generic. Ooh. Managed to make it. One thing we've done to help speedrunners is that all of the patterns you see here with moving platforms are repeated, so it's not randomized. So you can learn it, you can get better at it. And there is no like perfect pattern that you have to watch out for. Everything is climbable in the world. As long as you can reach it, you can climb it. Which means you can stack things as much as you want and make your own platforms or make your own cheats. This is of course before the game changed. This was just the precision platformer mode of the game. Now the game has so many more things that we can do. So we need to remake these levels and accommodate the new features that are available. And then it's going to be a big ass art job. 2 bars under health. The first one is ablative. So because you are in a mining facility, it is very common to come across sources of neutron radiation, primarily like radioactive rocks and minerals. So the exosuits that are being worn by the employees have an ablative called, what is it called? What's it called? Hold on, let me pull up the lore. This is the Ruger exosuit. LB4. That's right, lithium borohydride. Ablative. However, after the disaster, the solar shield has been destroyed, so now it has to become an emergency broad spectrum radiation ablative, but it's not very good at that. So when you're like platforming in some of these areas with radioactive minerals, it should be pretty good at defending against that. But if you are ever hit by the light of the sun, of the star, that's going to really hurt. And if you have no ablative, then you start taking health damage. Hydrogen then is used for abilities like a dash or being able to hover in the air for a bit. So that's a consumable resource for certain suit abilities. I just died. I just touched the lava on accident. Hold on. Oh, look at that, we teleported. You gotta be careful when you jump. Alright, here comes another one. Yeah, like some things will go through your ablative, like, I don't know, fire damage, right? But the ablative is for any type of radiation. So we can see these hazard colliders around these rocks here. These are radioactive. And so if you have ablative, you'll take ablative damage, as you can see up there. Otherwise, you will take health damage if you have no ablative. This is kind of an immersive way to give you a shield, I guess you could say. One that makes sense for the lore. Ooh! I missed. I could have just waited. But there's checkpoints and everything. I'm happy with this game being so much more different than this. But we do have a lot of work to go. Oh, this one says ablative. This should not be ablative. This should be health. My tooltip is wrong. I hate that. Why is my tooltip wrong? Look at all the bugs you're helping me find. Probably because it's the wrong actor class. If I had to guess. I'm thinking of getting rid of the restoration stations, actually. Replace with health. There we we go. Just make sure that it's right. I'll fix the others then. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. I can show you some of the other, actually this whole map is deprecated. I'm not actually supposed to be fixing this map. It's old. But I can show you some of the other elements that we have in the game. We have our different platforms. We have multiple different types of these. I'm going to use my controller for this. A bit more chill. Ooh. We have the normal disappearing platform. So this one is just, we'll keep the timer running once you step on it, then disappear. And then pop back in if it is respawnable. We can adjust the timer on these. Make them shorter or longer. That one I think is the same. It's not respawning, so that one's not respawnable. Oops. Uh-oh. Yeah, that one's fast. These ones, the timer pauses when you step off of them. This one reverses the timer. Timer restarts. Oddly enough, that didn't appear to be working. Oh, it is. The last one didn't seem to do it though. I gotta check on that one. And these are destructible. These are pretty fun. I like these. Although the material is not rendering in for the destructible actor. Fine though. And you can override the mesh on these. We can have custom meshes. What else do we have? We have moving platforms. These move on splines. Speed is constant despite spline length. We can adjust the speed, make them faster or slower. We have linear and smoothed, or you can put in a custom curve. You can kill at destination, so these are nice for like one-shot moving platforms. And this is showing like an optional restart, respawn with delay. We can have custom actors in here. And this also works with timed platforms. Let's wait till it comes back. But it's full custom actor support for these. Hurry up, bitch. Oh my god. That's always fun. Might find some use cases for that. We have a lot of advanced tech for this, so you can actually set up custom events that trigger other splines. We use that for like our custom moving platforms in that main map as a way to ensure that we have repeatable patterns. And we can do trigger timeline on timeline percentage, actor reaching beginning, actor reaching end, on spawn, on destroy, timeline resumed, timeline stopped. And then we can do different sorts of actions on that too, like destroy the platform, restart it, tell it to wait. We can modify scale, and we can set the rotation type. The first one is keep world up. This one is follow spline. the spline actor rotation, and then the other one is follow the spline rotation at the time. And that's an icy platform, but our foot IK looks really silly with that, so it's making me slide around, but it doesn't look like it because of feet IK being annoying. So ignore that. It never occurred to me either. Creating these platforms was a lot of fun, but also a lot of work. Okay, this is kind of broken right now because of our feet IK, like I mentioned. Like, I'm gonna just put some velocity on there, not touch anything. You can see me sliding, but it looks really wonky because of the feet. Animator's gonna fix that one. Then there's mud. And it's all physical material based, so we can have platforms or objects with different physical materials. And it does move the player on slippery surfaces, but it's just, this is, like I said, it's broken as shit right now, so ignore that. Also, I moved the kill volume up too high. So that one's dumb. Ignore that one. Okay, this one's good. These are our effects and restoration. So we can deal health damage. You can see in the upper right underneath the timer, that's where it shows the current effects that you have on you. Or ablative damage or hydrogen damage, although hydrogen damage is mostly going to be from like abilities you use, and we can restore that. Input prompts change, by the way, based on device you use, which is always fun. We can control the damage per tick, so this one is very low versus very high. You can perform continuous or one-shot effects. So continuous might be you are standing inside of, this radiation and you're taking damage, but the moment you leave it, you're fine. Otherwise, you might have fire damage, which applies that effect while you're inside of it, and then as you leave, it ticks down. And you can continuously kind of re-trigger that. And also effects do stack, so we calculate the damage or healing. So I can heal faster than I take damage, so I could theoretically stand inside of here and just infinitely heal. Yeah, a lot of permutations. What is this? Oh, proximity-based damage, yeah. So you can see here the debug. I had to make different proximity algorithms for box, capsule, and sphere. Oh, hold on. A sec, somebody's calling. I think it's a courier. I gotta call my wife. Hold on. Courier. Hopefully she's not busy right now. It might be. Shit. I think she is. Kurva! How dare she make money? I just send her a message. Uh-oh. Oops. Stop it. Stop flying into the abyss. Courier coming. Please listen for him. Yes, see ya, Oz. Thanks for the follow, too. Oh, God. I don't know if she's gonna hear it. She should be there. Fuck. Hold on. I'm gonna send the courier a message. Wife not responding to call. Not that my wife is not responding at all. Door code is... I'm not going to read that one on stream. Okay, that should work. Yeah, wife T-posing under. Sorry about that. She, like, you know, she teaches, so she has, like, headphones in, so she doesn't always hear that somebody's at the door. Or, like, the door thing is ringing. Hopefully, I'm going to leave my phone here just so I can deal with anything that pops up. These are my computer parts to hopefully fix my streaming computer. So I do kind of need them. Okay, what was I doing? And one of the cool things about, like, the so we can do proximity based right now. Unfortunately, the way that proximity is handled for boxes is basically just drawing a moving sphere, so it is kind of just a capsule trace when you think about it. But we are doing proximity check to the source, which is this blue line, so you can see it moving with us. So we take more damage as we're standing in the center versus out near the edges of the box. Pretty cool. And you can see that for the capsule, and then also for the sphere, but the sphere is pretty easy, right? Because it's just to the source of the sphere. Lots of damage. Less damage. So that's really great for sources that actually would make sense to not have deal full damage unless you're standing close to them, like a radioactive mineral. And what's really awesome is we can give an ID to multiple volumes, and it will take your proximity to the closest volume. A triple jump. Thanks for the raid, guys.
Triple Jump Games raided my stream with 10 viewers.
Welcome to the stream. I'm just showing off people one of our systems that we've made, which is hazard volumes. And what's really cool is we can overlap volumes but take the proximity to the closest source. That way we can have irregularly shaped hazards, like, I don't know, big multiple set of, like, fires and stuff, but we treat it as one hazard so the player isn't taking damage from multiple hazard boxes at the same time. Although fire wouldn't be proximity based anyway, but either way, the point still stands. Thanks for the raid. What were you guys working on today? Before I die. You're working on Atomcraft some more? Nice, nice. Your reviews have been pretty damn great on that, haven't they? I was checking that out. How have the sales been? At least $5, right? You do another quality of life update tomorrow? What did you include in the quality of life? Improper usage. Yeah, you're not supposed to place these on the ground. Unfortunately, the character movement controller for Unreal is not good. I think they are planning to replace it with Mover, but Mover is just not ready yet. Actually, I think I can fix that now, but I'm not sure. 20 things. Damn. Here I am just jumping on pads. Here I am goofing off instead of fixing bugs. What are you gonna do? I have to make sure there are no additional bugs. That's what I'm doing. I'm not playing around, I'm testing. That's really cool to see your game's doing so well. Hopefully you can pass on some of that luck to us when it's time. Oh yeah, we can mix the physical materials on this. I forgot about that. You can see some of the stupid materials I have. It's good that we have good stuff here. I think most of our pads are still doing fine. QA doesn't get credit. They also don't get paid enough, sadly. I got a lot of love for my QA guys. You know, as a game designer, I always just work. I'm usually working super closely with QA because they actually read my documents, right? Because their whole goal is to find bugs. So if they don't understand how something is supposed to work, they don't know if it's working correctly. Programmers, it's a bit of a crapshoot, right? Like I knew some programmers that always read my documents, some that never did, some that sometimes did. But QA, I don't think there was anybody that knew my game better than QA did, or me. And so it was always worth talking to them, asking them how things were looking, verifying that something was working correctly. Jump pads are cool. The good stuff with jump pads is we can actually bounce anything on it, and we can also turn off acceptance for different bounces. So some of these will bounce only static meshes, some the player, some both. I had to write a custom solver for handling multiple simultaneous bounces to accommodate irregular geometry. So we actually keep a track of when an actor has last bounced, and we prevent them from bouncing again until a timer is up. Now, the good news is you shouldn't notice this, but if you do happen to like hit one of these pads twice in a very short time due to irregular geometry, then it will only treat it like one, which is nice. And we also do impulses in direction, which is pretty cool. We can like bounce between pads like this. And I also made it so that if we want, we can disallow bouncing on sides other than the top. That's quite useful. And then we wait for you to climb before doing the bounce as well. Just in case. To prevent animations from looking horrible. We do first person camera when crouching. Thankfully, otherwise it would look horrible. And I wrote custom mantling and climbing algorithms. Which, hopefully under the right circumstances, you should never feel as if you were cheated out of a climb. But man, getting that to actually work, so much harder than just saying it. I'm actually a little bit generous with jumps. Technically, I think I could jump up here. I lined it up correctly. Yeah. Get that pixel perfect. No ball busting in this game. Men rejoice. Nothing should really ever be that thin in our game though, so not something we have to worry about. And of course we have our items, we can pick these up. This is a sticky light, so you can throw it, sticks, and it lights up. Yes, all the footsteps are placeholder. They're really annoying, I do agree. This is pre-production. We will fix that. You can also light up the sticky light before you throw it, carry it around. Or, I mean, you can also platform on the sticky lights if you throw them into a... What do we call this field? The molecular... It's a slow field, okay? It slows objects and then freezes them. And you can, oops. And move it closer. You can jump on those. And of course we prevent you from grabbing it while it is being stood on. Just to prevent physics issues. So you really want to make sure that like that physics-based systemic gameplay is just solid. But it's really hard, man. I don't think I've ever worked with physics to such a high degree in a game before this. There's so many little things you have to take into account. Like what happens if something is flying through the air, but now you can climb on anything. So you have to prevent that and all this blah, 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 blah. We have item slots as well, so these are... Why is it so slow? Why is that so slow? Who made the box slow? Okay, it doesn't matter, I'll fix that. We have item slots, which accept sliding in an item. These are really good. We have multiple different types, and you can take them back out. Put them back in. Climb on them. We also have automatic slotting, which is pretty fun. So you can throw them into this slot, except this is really heavy and isn't being thrown. That'll pull it from you. We have a hold type, so this will hold the object until you pull it back out again. Validate, which is good for like key cards, so this just checks if the item is valid, but it doesn't take it from you. Consume one shot will consume the item you're holding and then destroy itself. Consume reset will reset the slot. And hold one shot will hold it but not let you take it back out. So with that, we can do some pretty fun stuff like basketball over here. Hell yeah. But we could use this for other like puzzles and gameplay purposes too. And that's the consume, this is the validate, and then the hold will keep it in there. There you see it. So that's something I worked on. That is a plugin as well. Actually, all the interaction is plugins, so we can use that in future games too. Grip upgrade for glow sticks that allows deployed ones to be used as a handhold in climbing. I do like that. That is cool. I've simulated disassembly here, so I have created a disassembly algorithm that purposefully avoids other objects, the things that it's spawning, the player, and it will not spawn anything behind a wall or underneath the ground. and that is a way to prevent any physics glitches. So each of these will spawn 6 containers because it has each of the resources that we have available to it. And you can see that it will avoid any sort of collision with other objects, with itself, with the player. Safe spawns. And we can see with a disassembly grenade what that looks like to different, like, here's a wall. Worst case, if it fails to find a valid spot, it will just give the player resources. So you get a little bit of that nice havoc physics, like you would expect, and it's not havoc, it's chaos. But you know, if you play a game like a Bethesda game where you have a bunch of physics objects, we just want it to feel good, and not like it's breaking physics or causing weird things to happen. And I would say it's about 95% efficient with that. Our interaction prompts also respect line of sight to the camera. And they, of course, fade in and out based on player distance to the object. And you can stack these and climb them. And if you want to be that weird guy that beats the game while stacking resource containers, you absolutely can do it. It's gonna be tough though, but you can do it. Now, of course, what do you do with resources? Unless you can disassemble them in here. You can find schematics, and then you can craft these items at a fabricator. So like a glow stick here. Very placeholder menus, of course, visually. And they're sticky, so you can, of course, throw this at objects. And there it is on your object. You can also take these schematics, and maybe you hate paper and you hate learning, so fuck it, just disassemble the schematic. Who needs to learn? Throw it in here, lock the door, disassemble it. Goodbye knowledge. That's what happens when you use AI. And then the new thing we're working on is our GameplayCLI. There's actually one thing that I haven't shown here, which is a power receivers and providers. That's a whole nother topic. But we can power up objects and power them off. But you can also interact with objects through a command line interface. I'll switch to keyboard for this because it is still a work in progress. We have tons of expected, directory, tree command, clear screen. We can CD into C drive. What's in here? We have test.exe. This actually doesn't do anything right now, but it'll print hello. So if you want to see a print hello, I can run test.exe. And there, it'll print hello. We can also invoke certain objects. So if we list devices, we can see that we have these 3 lights behind us, and we can even specifically call light 03. Power off, or turn it back on. And there's also a power subsystem to the facility, so things can be powered. You can turn on entire rooms or like features using that too. So that's what we've been working on recently. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. An awful lot of bullshit. But hopefully it looks pretty cool. It doesn't look pretty yet, but it does run. That one we can ignore. MVVM. Okay, that one maybe we shouldn't ignore. That one we do have to fix. I think I know what's causing that though. It's the whole menu though. That's kind of awkward. Didn't seem to be broken to me. Maybe I just need to set it to be optional. Fabrication menu. I am creating the instance. I'll have to look into that. Menu was a bitch to make, let me tell you that. We will be checking out the Gamescom stuff though. I haven't looked at any of the Gamescom trailers except for one. So you'll get my full live reaction to it. I feel like I need to fix a bug though. But now I can't remember what the bug was. Oh, it was the items. I'd swear that I turned this off. Where's my Boolean? Yeah, this should be false. It is possible, though, that I unintentionally fixed the bug. Attached component mass, max mass. This should still equal 250 though, because attached component max mass. Oh no, it should be true. It should be true. I have this set to true. I have it set to false. I need this true. Not the other way around. And now I should ignore mass. Okay, that's better. That's a lot nicer. You can also fine tune it. So there might be some cases where you want to fine tune an item and its location for placing. You can also just reset the rotation. Adjust the amount that you're moving it by. That's quite useful. The really cool thing is, like, you might have some small item that is long, and you could throw it through small holes in the environment to get it into different rooms. Or to, like, get it to land up on a location. So that should be a lot of fun. And quite useful in different locations and purposes. We give you the tools, you create your own solutions to problems. There's no right or wrong. We let you climb on anything. You want to play basketball and not fail, you can play basketball. This is GTA 6. If anybody saw the leak, there was a leak of The basketball being played. Oh. The fuck? I even keep velocity when disassembling with this field. I don't know why. I don't know if I want this even. But we do keep velocity. It was pretty fun. Good stuff. No bugs. Except for delete file recovered during retry. I don't know why. Apparently was unable to delete some editor per project user settings any. Wonderful, thank you. Thank you, Unreal, for failing to delete a file. Yeah, we don't need this. We're not going to do that. Okay, fixed collision with platforms. Receiving overlap from interaction prompt. Fixed incorrect Boolean setting on grab throw. Verified usage and added functionality for running programs via GameplayCLI. That should be really fun. You know, you get into like the security computer, right? And you could authorize yourself with security access or override like some door lock that you wouldn't be able to do elsewhere. You know, run a program to print a key card for yourself or something. Should be good. Should be some good stuff.
I'm gonna come.
That's right. Okay, I will have to leave at like 3 p.m. So how about right now, let's pivot. Let's watch some of the Gamescom footage. Now, I know, of course, there's Witcher. We can start with Witcher. But you guys got to tell me what else was there.